Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Aero, and once again, we're coming to you with another episode from Lunar Nation. We got the three legends in the line back again: Franz, Sagoon, and Harsh. Hi, everyone.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's happening, everyone?
What's going on, Arrow?
Yeah. You got that? You know how it is. We be shooting arrows all day, all night. So
I
that's
You're a
see,
how
I
legend.
see.
That's how the game goes. So, audience, we got another episode, another exciting adventure, another thing to talk about. I'm sure it's going to be a conversation you all going to talk about once this episode is done. But so let's, I'm just going to introduce the episode for you. So, in tonight's episode, what I want to focus on is I want to talk about technology. I want to talk about how we, like, as individuals, like, what do we do? Like, are we focused with just an average day, like we were looking at our phones so much, we're looking at our computer screens. We're not really there. Like we're always in the, you could say, like the different realm. We're not really physically there. We're mentally, our mind is somewhere else. And I just want to get to the topic of like how is technology affecting us? How are we compared to people in the past? And how are we what is our like perspective looking like in the future? So, I want to start up with Sagoon. Sagoon, I know you got some thoughts about this.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, for
I
sure,
want you
Arrow.
to share some, of your knowledge to the audience.
Yeah, I wanna share my own experience as well. With the whole phone situation. Personally, I'm addicted to my phone because it's just something inside me that I feel like I have like that FOMO. Whenever I'm not in my phone, I just feel like, I'm missing something or, I'm not staying up to date.
You're
So
addicted.
basically I am addicted to the phone, and this compared to me 10 15 years ago wouldn't have had been the case, but now because of all the iPhones, all the computer technology and everything like that, it's just I've been
So,
so exposed to this different world, like you mentioned, Arrow. It's
okay,
like
so
your,
so the
your zone.
problem is you're born in the 21st century, the moment when we got technology all around us. We got the 5G, we got the phones, we got the computers.
Yep.
We pretty much got the little mini computers in front of our hand, and at any moment of time when you're walking by yourself in like a very crowded space, you feel probably like abnormal, and you're like, you know what? Let me just pull out my phone and
Yeah.
do absolutely
Also,
nothing.
I also look at my phone before I sleep, and it's just been a habit of mine. Like just right before I sleep, I have to look at my phone. So
Sagoon's become a slave now.
it's an addiction. I mean, I'll admit it myself that it's something that I have to stop, but it's just something in my brain that just tells me that I have to watch it. But that could link into habit as well. Maybe one day I won't check the phone. Maybe that'll help, in the future. But it's
That
just
word maybe is a dangerous word. Just remember that.
yeah, I do see your point, but it's just you have to do something like we discussed in our previous podcast. The habit is what like the 20 days of habit, I believe, is what can change your course of action. So I will try my best to improve and not become as reliant on technology as I am right now, because
Okay.
I would say I have personally probably like 12, 13 hours a day of screen, like just looking at the screen, which is completely not healthy for your eyes, especially with the blue light, and it causes eye strains as well for
Well,
me.
long story short, Sagun, you're saying technology is not good. So,
It's
I
it's
want.
it's it is one last thing, Arrow. It is good if you access the right material. It's bad when you are just exploring, just like a mindless slave,
You
and
have
just
to
like
find a balance. There's no,
Yeah,
I mean, there's always bad and good, but there's a balance in between them.
exactly. I mean,
Too much of something is not good. Too little of
Yin and
something is not
yang.
yep,
Yin
exactly.
and
yep.
yang.
yeah.
It's
So
as what Harsh was saying is we had an episode of the yin and yang too. So there's that some kind of balance that we need. So in terms of technology, like if you want to search something that could benefit you, educational, you have it in the palm of your hands. You can do it. But a lot of the population, especially the teens and a lot of people around me, have not really, they don't, they just scroll through like Instagram or all those different things just for self pleasure and instantaneous pleasure as well. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I want to ask the scientist, the legend, Harsh. I know he'd be analyzing the situation really clearly. So, Harsh, you tell me what your thoughts are. What do you think about technology? What do you think the impacts are as far as like the human mind goes? Do you think we're gonna get smarter, or do you think we're gonna get dumber as we rely more and more on technology?
Let me tell you that. Let me just put it blatantly and simple, like as simple as I can. One sentence out there. Technology makes people dumb. That's about it. Technology is not helping us get any farther ahead at all. Well, it is in some sense, when you want to discover the truth to some questions, or you want to discover, the balance of some reactions, you want to discover some new elements, or invent new products and make change. But when it comes down to phones, computers, and laptops, the way people are using them these days, it's just making them dumb. Like me, when I was in school, I did not have the access to a calculator to use it in my class, or no cheat sheets in my exams, or no computers in my exams. It was all pen and paper. I had to remember everything in my head, all the books, and no calculators. All the calculations had to be done by hand. All multiplications, divisions, decimals, fractions, whatever. Now I can tell you this. Um, Kids after 2010, or let's say just after 2005, kids, most of those kids this day are not able to do fractions or decimal calculations in their
Oh
head.
yeah, I can
That's
confirm.
just that's
I can
just
confirm.
basic math.
Yeah.
That's basic math. And I'm not just saying kids. I mean, if you look at America, well, we have this fact is proven that the schooling system outside India is more rigorous, or outside America is more rigorous than America. And if you just compare those two apples from different gardens, it should be like here in America, people have always been dependent on calculators, and they're just being fed technology through and through to you know get more and more dependent on it, and it's just making people not exercise their brain, and in turn their brain just stops functioning for that specific thing, because they know every time that they have to do a calculation, they're going to have access to a calculator.
So will we say that human mind being on a consistent consistent exercise. The fact that
Mhm.
we're not exercising our mind, do you believe we could perhaps in the future have like memory loss? Alzheimer's could be on a higher rate than our past generation.
I would definitely think so, because again, get this: if you're a 10-year-old kid and you try to remember something and you do that every day, and I think a 10-year-old kid would do a better job and would progress at it, by the rate. But these days, these kids don't have to remember anything. They have all short answers, short questions. They have one word answers, one word questions. That's about it.
Not only that, but tests are even curved nowadays too. So it's like they take
Yeah,
the
tests
the
are curves,
median.
exactly. Yeah,
My
exactly.
tests were
So
curved all through college. I
exactly.
was
So
gonna
see,
say
that's the thing. I mean, your guys' tests were curved all through college.
all through college.
I went through college back home in India, and in India, college, dude, you don't get curves on your tests or exams, and you
Yeah.
don't even get no cheat sheets. I mean, there's one thing you get in college is a calculator, but in college you don't need a calculator as much as you would need in a school, because in college you're dealing with complex equations derivations. So derivations, you don't need a calculator for those. The one calculator that I use, I couldn't even save a formula on there or any numbers. I
Also,
just yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, there's this app that my cousins use. Basically, you show them one of the equations. It's for like calculus, and it'll do the problem for you. So it's like this is what kids are using these days to get it.
Exactly. I mean, to do calculus, calculus is an integral part. You should know.
Yeah,
Everybody should know calculus. Like it
fundamental.
explains you the concepts of different equations and how things function. Where on the other hand, people are just creating applications that would help you do them like on a snap, and you're done with calculus. I mean, you should use those applications in a dire situation where, like, oh, I can't get through this equation. Please, something to help me out. Oh, there's this app. Let me help me out myself, and then actually study through it. But rather than that, they just take the easier route, and every time they have a calculus problem or an equation in front of them, they just put that app up and use it out. That's about it.
So one thing I do want to continue with this engagement. One thing I do want to continue and add on to it. Um, I know, Harsh, you're saying a lot of things are being made easier. No, people not trying to learn the subject. So the thing is, what I'm noticing is and I've seen like recent, whether it's other podcast interviews, I know that a lot of question, a lot of students say is like, "Yo, when am I going to use this in real life?" Whether it's about math, English, history, and whatnot. And I completely understand that. However, there's a thing that we have to learn. We have to get like a basic arithmetic. We have to learn how to speak proper English. We have to learn a little bit of history, because if at the end of the day you know completely nothing, or you don't put any effort into it, what I'm noticing, a lot of these kids, everything's being made, I wouldn't say it's being made easier for them, but everything's becoming more convenient, and they're relying on these technologies, and going kind of into like in a different realm, kind of like how we're seeing this instant gratification with these social media platforms. These kids are trying to, use these apps or other technologies that are making their homeworks easier, or accessing test guides to get all the answers. And then they're focusing their attention towards like the entertainment industry, whether it's sports, social media, doing other things, which is at the end of the day is great, because you want to be active, you want to do other things. But I feel like they're diverging all their attention into things that are not benefiting them in the future, and they're looking at what they're doing as time wasting. And I completely understand, you don't have to know the whole entire history of the world or the United States, or you don't have to know up until like calculus 3 or linear algebra and so forth, and be an expert in physics. But the moment you start losing those basic math skills, the moment you start not knowing who the most recent president was, then you don't know anything at all, and you're just going to be a blank person. How are you going to have able to have an intelligent conversation or debate with someone else?
You're totally correct. So
Exactly.
when you say basic math skills, let me tell you some one important thing I learned. I think I was in sixth standard maybe or somewhere. Had just started I think a little bit of advanced geometry to learn that, and my teacher told me that you basically use geometry in your brain all the time. The geometry is actually just going on in your brain every single moment. Because how do you take your steps? How do you move your hands? How do you do your movements? All the movements are based on calculations on how much power to put in that movement, how much farther do you want to move, how much longer do you want to take these steps for. So all that is basically just done in our head.
Okay,
It's going on. We don't have it unlocked yet. That's about it.
I, I like the concept of math, but you know what? I want to get into a bigger and bigger subject. So here's the question: the fact that we are looking at technology and we're looking at computer screens, and if you're walking in a mall or in a social gathering, you're definitely going to notice someone's just staring at their phone. Now, the key question I want to ask is, what do you suppose is going to happen to human conversation when we continue at this rate? How are we going to communicate in person? Do you think we're going to have problems? Are we going to be more introverted? Could we be like that example in Japan where the guy marries an anime character? You never know.
I mean, you
Yeah,
never know in that
there's
situation.
already a study that shows that people have stopped going out as much, or kids or teens have stopped going out as much as the teens that were in the 70s used to go out. There's already data to prove that.
Yeah.
People
Also,
are people are scared to go out. It's a shame, because I remember when I was a kid, what we used to do for fun was play outside. Now people, what they do for fun is play video games or on their phone, and it's a shame, because not only is there benefits but playing outside, because you're getting you're becoming, it's more healthy for your body, you're more active, but you're also increasing social skills, developing friendships with other relationships. Now people are, it looks like, becoming more introverted and scared to go outside in the sunlight. It's like they're scared of the sunlight, they're scared of some fresh air. And it's a shame to see that, because
also
it's going to start getting worse and worse and worse.
also the social awkwardness as well, because all they just do is text each other on the phone. They don't There's no that physical conversation. I've actually seen in the mall one time when there was two people that were right next to each other and they were texting each other. I could not believe what I was seeing.
And look at dating apps. I mean, dating apps have been on the rise, and that's the way people connect these days. People don't go out and connect in social groups because they feel awkward and they feel like, oh, you know what if something goes wrong? They have the fear of failure. So people want to be more and more sure about things, and that's just I think I would credit all of that just to data. That's what I'll credit about, because people have all this data right in front of them, accessible on their screens, and they don't want to look at or take chances towards things that could go wrong or that could go in the other direction that they don't want it to. So
Also,
Like
also,
there's
also
the
your one
Also,
thing I
boy.
want to ask. One thing I want to add is your whole, like, let's say your Instagram profile is your basically your whole personality these days, because that's what people look for whenever they're trying to search for you. They don't really talk to you. They first look at your Instagram profile to see what you're doing, what your interests are, and then after that they might talk to you or something like that.
Yeah, but
How
the
do you,
thing is, they're basing everything off aesthetics. They're not basing it off character or personality. Because what? Look, listen. That person can be good looking. They can smile. They have good photos. But when you meet them in person, they can be a
they,
complete
they can
dud,
suck.
a
They can
dud, a
suck.
stooge.
That's the thing.
So,
Oh, hold
and
up,
some of
hold
these
up, hold
people
up.
are afraid
What
to
is a
even have
dud?
interactions.
Hold up.
Or
You gotta tell the audience what a dud is. Maybe some people won't understand what that means.
a dud is like a blank. So it's like a empty shell. Like not, there's nothing in there. It's just like
So, like,
it's like
a statue?
it's like a
so when you
pistachio with no pistachio in it. It's like just a
when
shell.
you when you say that, I was actually just going through one of the charts. I think it was on Brookings EDU. That's a school, I guess. They had a chart showing what is the teen labor force participation and school enrollment. It was in 2020 though, when we know the COVID was happening. But I mean, again, they have the whole year's data, and also even COVID. People who actually wanted to go back to work, they did go back to work. So I was looking at the chart, and the most people who wanted to go back to work, or like the I would say the person that's like of the labor force that was like not enrolled in school and was actually working, was the majorly in Midwest region. That's about it. Like all the other regions had super low percentages of people going, or I'm just talking about teenagers is what I'm talking about here. So
Hey,
the teenagers who can be a labor force, yeah.
hey, I want to add one very, like, I was just thinking about it while you guys were speaking, especially on dating apps. Have you noticed? Obviously, we look at profiles and pictures of people, and
Hmm.
I'm 100% sure these profiles are heavily influenced with the current market, especially in like social media. But to be more high level, the thing that I'm noticing more and more is as technology progresses, the age of people, getting married is getting longer. So they're not marrying as soon as you could say like their grandparents. They're marrying a little bit later because they're being more picky. And I would say technology has impacted their decision in terms of what they really want, or what they think they want, to what they really want.
I think that's a
And
fairly good question, and it's a great question. I would, Franz, if you have something to say, but I mean, I have like 2 points to add. If you want to go ahead and say something before that, go ahead.
yeah, so I do agree that technology has some influence. There's other factors that come into play as well. If you notice, it's not just United States, but a lot of the first world countries. It's becoming more apparent for people to marry at a later age, just because people are focusing on whether it's getting an education or getting going up their career ladders, their corporate jobs to make more money. And it seems like the nuclear family is decreasing, whereas in back then people would have anywhere from 4 to 5 kids. Now is becoming less and less people having 1 to 2 kids. Like I said, I do agree that technology has some play to it. I don't think it's full in control of technology, but like I said, I just wanted to add that there is a basis of technology having some effect to it.
The reason,
So
here's the thing. I'm not a scientist, but this is my thoughts. So if you look at the fact that technology has prevented, I mean, I wouldn't say prevented, but it's a source of addiction. It's a source of escape. It's a source of getting your mind bottled on something that doesn't really do anything in the physical world, but in like the metaverse or like the virtual world, you're doing something. But the question is, when you're preoccupied with things that are unreal, and by the time you get out of this addiction, you're gonna be not you're not gonna be outside, you're not gonna be hanging out, you're not gonna be in people gatherings. And even if you do go at people gatherings, let's say you go in the club, you go in a bar, you go on so and so, you're gonna notice people on their phone. They're just like,
Oh,
their eyes
also,
are tied down. It's
one
addiction.
one one thing that people do, especially in social media, that's really really important is they take out their phones, they show their moments on their stories, and then they're back because they want to show people that they're having fun. and they're doing that. Right now, it's not about interactions. It's about showing people that they're
It's
living a
creating an
better life.
image. That's what they're doing. They're creating an image to kind of like flex or show a lifestyle that they're not really living or or indulge. They're just trying to make themselves feel better. It's like a
Let me
insecurity. But
let me
Harsh,
put
yeah,
my
I know you want to put in a couple cents in there. So
yeah.
what
Let
you
me
say?
let me put my two major points that I think are adding up to the question that Arrow asked about the increasing age that people marry at. So what I think is happening is, first off, it's a capitalistic society. It's a polarization of power, polarization of money, and obviously it's getting harder and harder to make it for yourself. And now people also do not always want to be dependent on their partner, as what's going on right now. Whereas in the earlier societies, it was a man's responsibility to go take care of a household, and woman was just supposed to be taken as a part and let free and do whatever they want to do. They want to go to work, they want to sit at a house or whatever they want to do. But the man has to be enabled enough to take care of both of them. And since the 70s, it has gotten hard enough to make up to that position where a man is able to take care of the whole household. And we've already talked about all that in our other episodes. I think one was the student debt crisis, where we talked about how things got expensive, the recession, and I think there's been one more episode that we talked about it. I think it was the Matrix, where we said how they've tried to keep us in a loop and
Yep.
making things more expensive. The other thing is, now definitely social media has gotten this to an exponential rise. And the other thing would be that people are getting more and more headstrong. Like, as society evolves, there's easier access to data, and people, instead of learning by themselves, going out and learning things, they just learn everything from the internet, and they make up their mind by the internet. That's what they do. Now, when they have these ideas from the internet and they chat with people who have similar ideas on the internet, what happens is they become headstrong. Now, for a headstrong person to find a partner and then kind of mold together is a difficult task. Whereas in the olden days, there was not so much of these people who were getting headstrong. It was mostly people going out, meeting each other, finding common grounds, and accepting the flaws and just making a not wanting to make a perfect match, but trying to make it work because they like the person. That's what they were trying to do, and they get married at 22, 23, and have kids at that point. And for me personally, I think the best age is to have kids and get married is between 22 and 24, because you're at the prime, you're healthy, and that's what you should do. That's what should be the best point of your life to do it.
Okay,
I
Now,
okay.
think
these are the both
I
the
think
things
that's
that I
too
think
young, in
add
my
up to it.
opinion. Maybe
Art.
maybe in my opinion, I would say maybe like 27, 28. I think still 23, 24. You're
How
still
about
No,
how about in your
getting
twenties?
experience.
How about
You're
between your
still
twenties? But here's the thing:
was that
we don't want to tell
college.
people what
That's
they what age they want to marry, but we do want to tell people. Actually, we don't want to tell people anything. But what we want to point out is,
we're just putting our opinions out. We're not
yeah,
telling people anything. It's
yeah.
just it's just an opinion from my end. Because look at our parents and look at the older generation. All of them got married at 22, 24. That's what happened.
My
And look at their
grandparents got married at 18 in
what,
19.
yeah, exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. And the reason, they did that for a specific reason. Like our older society. I'm not saying they were entirely right, and their motives were entirely right, but but I think their motives got lost over the time, and they kind of took it the other way. But I think the reason they started doing that was, you're in your prime of life, you're healthy, you can have healthy kids, and you have more time to work with your kids, and also you have more time and you're not that headstrong, so you can mold with your partner in a good setting.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
you're a legend, bro. Let me tell you that. So what I want to bring into a point is technology. As we progress more, people look at their phones and so and so. And ideally, they're just sitting down. They're not really being out there, so that makes them get fatter, get unhealthy. Their communication is pretty much going down lower, lower, lower because they're not out there. They're not learning. They're not being, according to some people, witty, which is basically being able to play words in your mouth really well. And another thing that's really critical is IQ. So my question, I've been looking at, the fact that historically how we as like a population from the 50s or 40s or even past, how were the human IQ back then compared to now? Is human IQ increasing, decreasing? Now, my opinion, I think the fact that we're relying more and more on something that is technically going to make us obsolete. I'm not saying iRobot, but I'm not also saying never is not going to be never. But the fact that our IQ is going low, what do you guys think? Like, is our IQ going lower? And also the fact that like China, they're metro booming on education because they're not allowing their students to use, for the most part, calculators to do their test.
Franz, you do bring up a good point about the IQ, the different ways that it's increasing over time due to the instant accessibility of technology. I want the problem is
You lost your
Yo,
point, bro.
yo, just say my cousin in Nepal.
What? Uh,
no,
Oh my, I'm
what I
fucking
was
dead.
gonna say, Franz. I do agree with you in the sense that the IQ of first world countries such as the United
here are the facts. Technology makes people lazy. That's our opinion. You can come and disagree with us. You can come and have a really good argument with us. As a the moment we see any difference, we're more open to talk to any audience member that probably disagrees with us and thinks otherwise. We're 100% game. 100% the table's open. Please reach out to us. Please give us a comment. Please ask us a question. This is once again Lunar Nation. We got the three legends back in the game. That's Franz, that's Harsh, and that's Sagoon. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. And at the end of the day, just keep on listening. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Also, don't forget to like our comment, rate, share our podcast. We want constant feedback as well because we want to grow as much as possible, and I feel like your feedback as an audience would help us with that. So please be sure to support us. Thank you.